What's going on, guys? It's your boy Shadows Gaming 44 or Logan here with another story time. Now today's story time was a pretty stupid decision because I'm pretty sure I led it to us getting caught smoking. Alright, which disclaimer before we start this story time, don't smoke weed. Alright, I've said this before, but it's really not a good idea. It leads a lot of people down a really bad path, and I don't want that for any of you guys. So don't do it. Don't do anything in this story time, alright? Because it's all pretty dumb. Alright, now with that out of the way, here comes, this is 13-year-old Logan again, alright? Like it is in a lot of these story times, I was an idiot 13-year-old. I'm only 1 year older than 13 now, but I've matured a lot since I was 13. And yeah, so let's get into this. So this all starts on a normal day, and 13-year-old Logan, he's sitting in the bedroom just vibing out with Jimmy, because at this time I was living with Jimmy and I shared a room with him. So it wasn't the funnest thing in the world, but it was whatever. I guess you could say I had company 24/7. So I was never lonely, but like this dude, he was so annoying sometimes. I wish I was lonely, which it's alright because Jimmy's cool sometimes. So if you're watching this, Jimmy, don't get mad, alright? It's not that big of a deal, bro. You're chill sometimes, but sometimes you're annoying. Alright. So so I'm sitting in there with Jimmy, I'm playing video games, as a lot of these story times start off. And Jimmy is like right on the other side of the room. We basically had the room split in half by an imaginary wall, and one side was my room, one side was Jimmy's. And Jimmy yells over, he's like, "Hey yo, bro, you wanna do something?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "Hey, let's go outside for a little bit." And I'm like, we can, but I gotta go clothes shopping here in like a couple hours, so let's make it quick." And he's like, "Alright, man, we won't be out that long." I'm like, "Alright, that sounds cool, I'm fine with that." And so we get ready, we head out the door, we're walking, we go down, we had like this little like hideout area in like a wooded area by like those apartments I talked about in the last story time. And there's like a wooded area where we basically made that like our little hideout. So we go over to this area, right? And we're just sitting there for a minute, and then Jimmy pulls out uh he pulls out a little bit of the devil's lettuce, if you know what I'm talking about. The 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 ghetto grass, whatever you want to call it. But he pulls that out and he has it rolled up and ready. And I'm like, "Hey, yo, what you planning to do with that?" And he's like, "Smoke it, stupid, duh." And I'm like, bro, I just told you before I left the house that I have to go clothes shopping here in a couple of hours, man. And we've already been out for like an hour and a half, and it's down, like we gotta be home in like 30 minutes, dude. I don't know if I have time to sober up and be able to go to the clothes store like not tweaking, you know? And I don't know if I'm down to get caught and grounded. That just doesn't sound very fun. And Jimmy, being the talker he is, he's like, "Oh, it's okay, man. You'll be fine. Just try to stay quiet the whole time." And when I'm high, I suck at staying quiet, alright? And I knew that. That's why I was saying it was a horrible idea. So eventually he talks me into it, which I don't know why I let him talk me into it. I should have just went home and let him stay there by himself. But he talks me into it, and I'm like, "Okay, bro, but only a couple of hits." And I did not end up taking a couple of hits, alright? Like, not at all. I definitely did not only take a couple of hits. I took like 5 hits of this thing. And by the end, I'm buzzed. And by that time, it's time for me to like start heading back. That way I can get picked up to go clothes shopping. And the reason I was going clothes shopping, it wasn't like the beginning of the school year or something. It was actually for a dance. And I was pretty hyped for it, so I don't know why I let smoking ruin it. I mean, it didn't ruin it, but like, I did end up getting caught like a day after, but it kind of ruined my clothes shopping a little bit. I would have preferred to go sober because I was trying to pick a nice suit and stuff for the dance because I'm not even gonna lie, your boy had a girl for this dance and I was pretty hyped for it. And um yeah, I wanted to pick a nice suit, but since I was high, I had to stay quiet and like kind of just pick whatever my aunt put out because I was trying to hurry up and get out of there. But anyway, I start heading home. I get home, and sure enough, my aunt's there, and my eyes are blazed. So I'm trying to not look her in the eyes very much. And keep in mind, my aunt was already kind of onto us. So me, I, I was kind of acting suspicious, which I didn't see myself acting suspicious because I was buzzed. I thought I was doing a pretty good job, but my aunt's like, "Are you ready to go down to the store and pick out, your suit for the dance?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And so we go out to the car and we start driving to this clothes store. It's a pretty popular store. All right. All right, I'm just gonna say the name. I don't think it really matters. It's not like the store CEO is gonna get mad at me. So we went to Walmart, alright, Walmart, and it was right down the street. So we go to Walmart. This is one of two places that we went looking for clothes. And we go in Walmart, and as soon as we walk in there, Jimmy says some stupid stuff sometimes. So there was a bald dude, like a couple feet away from us. Like not a couple feet, but like he was far enough to where he couldn't hear us. Alright. And Jimmy, he says something very stupid, and I'm buzzed. So I start cracking up at this. He says something along the lines of, "Look, Logan, there's a big-headed Bobby over there," and I'm buzzed. So keep in mind that I'm buzzed. So I just start cracking up laughing, like I'm laughing dramatically hard, like super duper 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 hard, and my aunt, she says, "Logan, like it's not that funny. Like, are you okay? Is something wrong?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. It was just random. It was pretty funny to me. Like, I was trying to blow it off." And I mean, my aunt, she kind of gets like this suspicious look in her eyes. She's like, "Okay, bud, just tell me if something's wrong. Tell me if you need to go back to the car or anything." I'm like, for sure. So we start walking through the store. We got to the clothes aisle, and we're over in the clothes aisle. We're looking. We find some dress pants, and like some black dress pants and a black suit. And my aunt tells me to go to the changing room so I can try on these dress pants and this suit to see if they fit. And I'm like, alright. So sure enough, I go over to the like changing booth that they have by the clothes aisle, and I change into these, which I'm sitting in there like, and I keep zoning out like every couple of seconds, bro. And I kid you not, it makes me feel like I've been sitting in this changing stall for like 30 minutes. Like I don't know how long I've been sitting in there, and this is when paranoia starts to kick in, right? I'm just in there and I'm like, yo, I think I'm taking forever. Like she's on to me. Like I'm in panic mode while I'm in here changing into these dress pants and this suit. So eventually, I managed to get the suit on. It takes a while. I feel like it takes a while because I'm buzzed or whatever. But yeah, eventually I get changed into the suit and I go out. And sure enough, when I go out there, I wasn't tripping. I was taking a while. So she says, "What took so long in there?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really sure. I guess I don't know." I make some stupid excuse. I say my pants were tight and they were hard to get off. It was a really dumb, unbelievable excuse, but it was the best I had because I was buzzed and I was not in a very good state of mind to be making excuses. Alright, so I just say my pants were too tight and they were hard to get off. And she's like, "Okay, well, how does the suit feel?" And the pants were pretty baggy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I could tell that they were baggy, but I wanted to hurry this up. So I say they're perfect. They fit perfectly. And she's like, "Alright." So after that, she's like, "Oh shoot, you need a tie." And then we go looking for ties in Walmart, and they don't have any ties. So we ended up going to Target after this, And I'm like, oh no, we have to go to another store. That's not very swag-tastic in my book. So we have to go to another store to look for a tie. And at this store, I didn't do much better. Alright, I was kind of walking along with Cameron. I mean, not Cameron, Jimmy. And as I'm walking with Jimmy, Jimmy says, yo, Logan, we are so high right now. Like one aisle over. And I'm like, dude, are you dumb? Yo, bro, what do you do if she hears us? And he starts getting mad at me for trying to be smart. And he's like, yo, I'm not being loud. Shut up, bro. It's fine. And I'm like, bro, it's not fine. Stop talking about that. She's right over there. And he's like, oh, whatever, dude. You're paranoid. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I get him to stop talking about it eventually. And we go back over to my aunt. And there's this like little spot with ties. And we pick out this little purple tie. Alright, a little purple one. And you know what? I wasn't being very picky because I just wanted to get out of there for real. So we pick this tie, and we go to check it out. We're in line, and Cameron makes some other stupid joke. Alright, and yeah, so he makes this other joke, and he says, yo, Logan, look at his credit or debit head. And there was another bald dude in front of us. I'm like, bro, what's with all the bald people out today? Like, no offense to bald people, alright? Y'all can be cool, alright? But just the stupid stuff he was saying about them. Like, he said some of the stupidest things. So, sure enough, I bust out laughing again. And once again, my aunt says, Logan, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong, I'm fine. She's like, alright, like I said, let me know if you need anything. And I'm like, for sure. So, we eventually get up to check out, and we're up there, and I'm zoning out, alright. Like, if you've ever like smoked before, you start zoning out, you get into your thoughts a little bit. And I'm kind of getting into my thoughts a little bit. And yeah, I'm sort of, in my thoughts, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh my god, bro, she so knows that I'm high right now. She so knows that I'm high right now. I'm just panicking. Alright, and after that, we go out to the car. Alright, and Jimmy, being the selfish man that he can be sometimes, he says, hey, yo, Logan, you know what? You could sit in the front seat, right? And I kind of try to say, nah, I don't really want to today. And he's like, nah, it's fine. I want to sit in the back. You can have it. Because I didn't get to sit in the front seat very much because Jimmy was kind of a front seat hog. So, sure enough, I'm in the front seat, and I'm sitting right next to my aunt. Keep that in mind. And I'm just trying to look out the window. Like, I'm so paranoid. I don't know why he did me like this, but I'm so paranoid. And she starts trying to conversate with me. Alright, and I know she's onto us because when she says this, it's just confirmed. She's like, so what was you and Jimmy doing last night? And keep in mind, we didn't smoke last night. We smoked today, but she didn't know when we smoked. She just know that we smoked. And I'm like, oh, we were just kind of, like playing 2K. We were chilling. And she's like, oh, really? Was y'all smoking last night? And I was like, what? I was like, nah, of course not. No, why would we be smoking? We already got caught before for doing this. Why would we be doing it again? Which is a really good question. Why did we smoke again after getting caught? I don't know. We're stupid. So, I'm like, no, you're overthinking things. We're fine. Jimmy was just being really dumb in the store. And it was funny. So, my aunt's like, alright, if that's really what it is. I'm like, yeah, you got nothing to worry about. So, sure enough, we get home. We're sitting in there for a little bit. And my aunt comes in the room, and she's like, y'all were acting pretty suspicious, so I think you should take a drug test to prove that you weren't up to anything. And at this point, I was I didn't want to admit it, alright, which I should have. I feel like I would have gotten less trouble if I just admitted it, but I don't admit it, alright? I try to deny it. I'm like, alright, you can drug test us, you're gonna be disappointed. And she's like, I guess I will. So she doesn't change her mind. She still makes us take this drug test. So you know how it goes. She makes me and Jimmy both get a different cup to go to the bathroom and pee in. And I give her 100% honest pee because I know we're busted at this point. But Jimmy, Jimmy making a really, really stupid decision. He decides to put cold Mountain Dew in the in this cup and try to pass it off as pee. And my aunt is not stupid, so she's like, hey Jimmy, like why is this feels pretty cold. Your pee is pretty cold. And she's like, pee is not cold, Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, uh, Jimmy's just kind of dumbfounded. Like, he's struggling to find an excuse. And he says, I promise you, it's my pee. It's my pee, Mom. Because keep in mind, my aunt is his mom because he's my cousin, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, he says, it's my pee, Mom, I promise. And she's like, no, this is not pee. And she decides to smell it. Alright, like she already knows enough it's not pee, or she wouldn't have smelled it. She smells it, and sure enough, it smells like Mountain Dew. And she's like, Jimmy, is this Mountain Dew? And Jimmy goes, no. And she's like, it sure smells like Mountain Dew, Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, oh, okay, fine, it's Mountain Dew. And then she's like, alright, so I already know you did it, or else she would have given me a legit pee to test, and it wouldn't have came back positive. But you put Mountain Dew because you knew you would get busted if you put actual pee, and you still got busted because you put fake pee, and especially cold fake pee. Nobody pees out cold pee. Alright, Jimmy, so you're grounded. Now, Logan, it's your turn. And I'm like, alright. So I let her, put the drug test in the pee, whatever you do. And as it would do after you just smoked weed a couple hours ago, it comes back positive. And she's like, sure enough, she's like, alright, I'm gonna have to tell your dad about this. And I'm like, okay, fine. Alright, because I knew she was gonna do it. There was no point in trying to protest it. I knew she was just gonna do it because she told my dad everything bad I did. So, sure enough, she tells my dad. My dad calls me. I get this long lecture about why I shouldn't be smoking, da-da-da-da-da, how I'm too young, you're messing up my brain development, and stuff like that. So, after that, I have to give the phone to my aunt. And my aunt goes and talks to him for a little bit. And she comes back to me and she says, okay, so your father seems to think that you should be grounded since it's a second time offense. He seems to think you should be grounded for 2 months. And I'm like, two months? And she's like, yeah, 2 months. Second time offense. The first punishment obviously wasn't enough for you, so you're getting 2 months. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll settle for it. And after I say that, she's like, alright, go get your PlayStation, everything. Go get everything and give everything to me. You're not to be doing anything for these 2 months. I'm like, oh, the sense of regret just fills my body. So I go in there, I grab all my stuff, and I give it to my aunt. And Jimmy's just in there looking mad disappointed as well, as he's also grabbing his stuff to bring to my aunt. And yeah, we both just have a defeated look on our face. And after I bring my stuff to her, she takes it, sure enough, and I go back to the room, and then Jimmy is in there protesting how he shouldn't be grounded for smoking weed at the age of 13. And I'm like, bro, they are right. It does kind of like mess with us. We're not fully developed yet. Da 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 da. He's like, bro, I don't care. It's not that big of a deal to smoke. Alright? Like, what's the worst it's gonna do to us? And you know what? I just start going along with Jimmy because I don't know. He's in denial. Whatever. So I'm like, yeah. We should. It's bullcrap. Blah blah blah. And then he's like, well, at least we could just chill in here and just wait out the 2 months. And I'm like, yeah. So fast forward I'd say 3 weeks later, right? Um, we end up, she ends up letting us off the hook early, but that doesn't save us from getting a long lecture about why we shouldn't be doing it again. We get another long lecture, except this time my aunt says my mother and my father are coming over to give me the lecture in person. And I admit I start getting nervous. I'm thinking in my head. I don't say this out loud. Out loud, I just say okay, but in my head, I'm panicking. I'm like, oh no, my mom, she's so gonna yell at me. She's gonna be so mad. Oh no, what do I do? And sure enough, I'm panicking, but time does what time does. So, like an hour or two goes by because my father was at work at the time. So my dad and pulls up, and sure enough, out comes the car. My mom, which is the number one that I was scared of, because she was known to kind of yell at me sometimes, and it was scary. I will admit that. But she comes, and I'm scared. The whole time I'm scared. I'm like, oh no, she's gonna yell at me. She's gonna yell at me. But surprisingly, to my surprise, she doesn't yell at me. She basically says what she said last time in person, but like in a pretty calm voice. She just had a disappointed look in her face. But that's the biggest thing that was like, she didn't holler at me, and I said, Mom, you're not mad about this? And she said, no, I'm just kind of disappointed in you, Logan. Like, I know you're better than that. You've always been my good child. And I'm like, yeah, I promise it won't happen again. Which it doesn't happen again for a while, but another time that it happens is just for another story time. But speaking of story times, that'll be the conclusion for this story time. I hope you guys enjoy this. I feel like this one's a pretty decently long one. Sorry about the last one. It was pretty short. I mean, I feel like it was pretty entertaining, so I didn't really mind that it was short. But yeah. Um, Make sure to go check out the Spotify, and other than that, there will be another story time tomorrow. There should be another story time tomorrow. I'm planning to do daily uploads. So, yeah, come back tomorrow for another story time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and smack that like button. Comment down. Alright, what should you guys comment? Alright, just comment down stupid. Yep, just comment down the word stupid. Because it does help it helps the videos hit recommended, and believe it or not, that helps me out. So yeah, comment stupid down below. Hit that like button if you did enjoy. Smack the subscribe button. And yeah, that'll do it for the story time today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Peace. I'm out. See y'all later. Peace.